I did not expect the week to spiral this quickly, but the deeper I look into what is unfolding, the more it feels like every character is being pushed to a breaking point at the exact same time, almost as if someone behind the scenes is carefully pulling strings and tightening the tension with each passing moment. And right at the center of this storm is Madison, whose situation might quietly become the most explosive storyline of all. Madison's legal trouble is not just a simple mistake. It feels bigger than that, more deliberate, or at least more dangerous in terms of consequences, because when someone like her, someone so focused and disciplined, suddenly ends up violating a law during research, I cannot help but feel that there is something deeper going on beneath the surface. I keep thinking about what kind of research she was conducting, what lines she crossed, and whether it was truly an accident or something she felt forced to do under pressure. The spoilers suggest she will face a lawsuit, and that alone signals that this is not something minor. This is something that could damage her reputation permanently if handled poorly. What fascinates me even more is her response. Instead of breaking down or trying to hide, Madison chooses to step away and work independently, and that decision tells me a lot about her mindset right now. She is not retreating out of fear. She is recalibrating. She is trying to regain control in a situation where control is slipping away. Working independently means she no longer trusts the system around her, or perhaps she no longer wants to be constrained by it. I can already imagine her isolating herself, diving deeper into her research, becoming more obsessed, more determined to prove something, maybe even to the point where she risks making even bigger mistakes. At the same time, Tomas's resignation feels far from coincidental. In fact, it feels like the beginning of a calculated revenge arc that has been quietly building for a while now. His anger toward Bill was never fully resolved. It was buried, redirected, manipulated, and now it is resurfacing in a much more strategic way. The idea that this was all part of Haley's plan makes everything even more intriguing, because it means Tomas is not acting alone. He is a piece in a larger game, and Haley is still orchestrating chaos even when she is not directly in the spotlight. If Tomas has indeed joined a rival law firm, then this is no longer personal. It becomes professional warfare. He is positioning himself in a place where he can strike at Bill where it hurts the most. His career, his reputation, his legacy. And knowing Tomas, he will not rush. He will wait for the perfect moment. He will gather information. He will exploit weaknesses. And when he finally makes his move, it will be devastating. This is where Naomi's involvement becomes incredibly important, because her decision to team up with Bill is not just about business. It is deeply emotional. Their relationship has been strained ever since Haley disrupted their family, and Naomi's distance from her father felt justified. It felt like a wound that could not easily heal. But now, something is changing. Bill is changing, and Naomi is starting to see that. I think this partnership is not just about stopping Tomas. It is about rebuilding trust, about giving their relationship another chance. The possibility that Naomi might join Bill's law firm is a huge turning point, because it suggests a long-term shift in the story. Bill has always wanted her to take over someday, and now that future suddenly feels much closer. But this also puts Naomi directly in the line of fire, because going up against Tomas will not be easy, especially if he knows her weaknesses, her doubts, her emotional ties. I can already sense that their confrontation will not just be legal, it will be deeply personal. Meanwhile, Smitty's mistake is something I cannot ignore, because it feels like one of those moments that will have ripple effects across multiple storylines. Breaking a rule, especially one connected to Jacob, suggests a breach of trust, and trust is everything in the kind of world they are operating in. My instinct tells me that Smitty's actions were not entirely selfish. There was likely a reason, perhaps even a desperate one. The mention of Grayson makes things even more complicated, because if Smitty went to him and made a request, then whatever he asked for must have been significant enough to provoke a reaction, and that reaction ended up being directed at Jacob. This creates a chain of consequences that is hard to untangle. Smitty makes a move, Grayson retaliates, Jacob suffers, and now everything is on the verge of falling apart. The upcoming confrontation between Jacob and Smitty is something I am particularly interested in because it will reveal the truth behind Smitty's decision. Was he trying to help? Was he trying to protect someone? Or did he simply make a reckless choice without a tafkir about the consequences? Whatever the answer is, it will define his character moving forward. At the same time, Lynette's actions continue to escalate, and her decision to blackmail Haley shows just how far she is willing to go to get what she wants. This is not just about revenge, it is about control, it is about securing a piece of the wealth that Haley and Bill were involved in through their scheme. Lynette is not playing defensively anymore, she is on the offensive, and she is using whatever leverage she has to push Haley into a corner. Haley, on the other hand, is running out of options, and that is when she becomes the most dangerous. A cornered person does not think clearly, they act out of desperation, and desperation often leads to mistakes. I keep wondering how she will respond to Lynette's blackmail. Will she try to negotiate? Will she fight back? Or will she make a move that escalates the situation even further? Then there is a tension between Vanessa and Nicole, which at first glance might seem like a smaller conflict, but the more I think about it, the more I realize how significant it could be. Their friendship has been strong, but when relationships start to involve outside influences, especially romantic partners, things can quickly become complicated. The fact that their argument is tied to defending their respective men suggests that this is not just a disagreement, it is a clash of loyalties. The double date idea, which was probably meant to bring them closer, might end up doing the exact opposite. Joey and Carlton are now at the center of this tension, and depending on how things unfold, they could either help resolve the conflict or make it worse. I cannot help but wonder if this is the beginning of a deeper divide between Vanessa and Nicole, one that could permanently alter their friendship. As the week progresses toward the weekend, Jacob's investigation begins to yield results. And this is where things start to feel like they are coming together. The information he uncovers could be the key to exposing something much bigger, something that ties multiple storylines together. But the question that keeps lingering in my mind is whether Smitty's misstep will interfere with this progress. If Jacob's investigation is disrupted, it could delay the truth from coming out, and in a story like this, timing is everything. A delay could allow certain characters to cover their tracks, to manipulate the narrative, to escape consequences. On the other hand, if Jacob manages to push through despite the obstacles, then we might be heading toward a major revelation. Joey's role in all of this is also becoming more intriguing, especially with the way he is pressuring Randy. It seems like Bill is pulling strings behind the scenes, using Joey as a way to indirectly influence events without getting his hands dirty. Randy, however, is in a difficult position because he is being asked to take on tasks while denying any connection to Haley and Lynette. This kind of pressure can break a person, and I'm curious to see how Randy handles it. Will he comply? Will he resist? Or will he make a move that surprises everyone? Joey is not someone who tolerates failure, so the stakes are incredibly high for Randy right now. Finally, the tension between June and Samantha feels like a slow-burning storyline that is about to reach a critical point. Their conflict is intense, emotional, and deeply rooted in their shared history. But what stands out to me is the idea that this conflict might actually bring them closer in the end. Sometimes, the only way to truly understand someone is to confront them, to let everything out, to face the truth head on. If June and Samantha can get through this confrontation, they might come out stronger, more connected, more willing to accept each other. It feels like this is not just a fight, it is a turning point in their relationship. As I piece all of this together, I cannot shake the feeling that this week is setting the stage for something even bigger, something that will redefine the direction of the story moving forward. Every character is making choices. Every choice is creating consequences. And those consequences are starting to overlap in ways that are impossible to ignore. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that no one is truly safe anymore. Not Madison with her lawsuit, not Bill with his enemies closing in, not Naomi as she steps into a dangerous role, not Jacob as he digs deeper into the truth. This is the kind of week where everything changes, where alliances are tested, where secrets begin to surface, and where the line between right and wrong becomes increasingly blurred. I am watching it all unfold, trying to predict where it is heading next, but the truth is, the The story is moving in a way that feels unpredictable, and that is what makes it so compelling, so impossible to look away from.